It was our 3rd anniversary. That evening, I received a video from my girlfriend's boy toy. The setting was a hotel room. In the clip, my girlfriend, Alara, was entangled with another man, completely naked. The look on her face was pure euphoria, a level of satisfaction I wasn't sure I'd ever seen before. I was livid. I immediately forwarded the video to her with a text. Is this what you meant when you promised to love me forever? Did she forget that everything she had, her career, her lifestyle, was because of me? If this was how she wanted to play it, she shouldn't blame me for leaving her with nothing. You can tell if someone loves you by the details. My girlfriend's name is Alara Vance. In 3 years, we had no secrets. We had open access to each other's phones. Even our passcodes were the same. I trusted Alara implicitly and respected her privacy, so I rarely checked her device. But one night, my phone died, and I had an urgent client to contact. Alara was in the shower, so I didn't bother her. I just picked up her iPhone and punched in the code, 041214. It corresponded to April 12th at 2:00 p.m., the exact moment we officially became a couple. The screen shook. Incorrect passcode. A knot of dread tightened in my stomach. She had changed it before, but she always told me immediately so I could match mine to hers. This time, silence. Maybe she just forgot. I tried to suppress the paranoia. When Alara walked out of the bathroom, towel dry her hair, I asked directly, "When did you change your passcode?" "You didn't tell me." She froze for a split second, a flicker of panic in her eyes, before masking it with a smile. But I had seen it. She tucked the phone in her robe pocket and said softly, "Oh, sorry, babe. Work has been so crazy lately. It completely slipped my mind." I frowned. Something fell off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Instead of pressing, I waved my hand. "Unlock it for me, then. My battery is dead, and I need to make a call." Alara instinctively took a step back. "What's wrong?" I asked. Her eyes darted around the room. Nothing. It's just bad timing. My service got cut off. I forgot to set up the autopay." I looked up, studying her face. Skepticism washed over me. First the password, now the service. It was too convenient. Something was going on, but I chose not to expose her just yet. "Fine, I'll pay the bill for you later." "Thanks, honey." She let out a breath she'd been holding and went to apply her face mask. Since I was in a rush, I didn't grab a charger. I went down to the lobby and rented a portable power bank. Once my phone booted up, I made the call to my client. Then, I opened Venmo and checked the transaction history. I always handled Alara's bills. Her number was linked to my family plan management app. She had likely forgotten that detail. Sure enough, her line was active. The account had a $300 credit. Why lie? What was she hiding? I immediately speed-dialed my executive assistant. "You have 24 hours. I want a full dossier on everything Alara Vance has been doing recently." Alara and I met when we were interns at the same firm. She was stunning. Out of hundreds of women in the company, no one compared to her. Plenty of guys chased her, but none seemed to meet her standards. No one knew what she was looking for, until the department retreat. We were at a lounge in downtown Manhattan, and everyone had a few too many drinks. I stepped out to the alley for fresh air and saw 2 guys harassing Alara. I didn't recognize them, probably random drunks. I rushed in without thinking, shoved them back, and pulled Alara behind me. I took a couple of punches for my trouble. The adrenaline kicked in, and I fought back until the cops showed up. We both ended up at the precinct. Alara testified for me, and after reviewing the security footage, it was ruled self-defense. I walked free. That shifted us from strangers to friends. She was good to me. She brought me snacks and homemade lunches, grilled salmon, quinoa salads, roasted vegetables. It was healthy, delicious, and a massive upgrade from my daily takeout. I started relying on her meals. In return, I brought her coffee every morning. When she got sick, I was there, taking care of her, no matter how late it got. We naturally evolved into a couple. We became the office power couple everyone envied. Once we were official, she was even more attentive. She managed my life down to the smallest detail, washing and folding my laundry, listening to my problems, planning weekend getaways. I wanted to give her the world. Every holiday, every anniversary, I went overboard. Gifts, jewelry, cash. If other women had it, she had it. If they didn't, she had it anyway. Alara once made a vow, right inside St. Patrick's Cathedral. "Caleb, I will stay by your side forever. Rich or poor, in sickness and in health, beautiful or ugly, until death parts us." I was certain she was the one. Gradually, I used my family's connections to elevate her. I helped her launch her career, giving her the social ladder she needed. In a few years, I engineered her rise from intern to elite. Standing outside the hotel, I lit a cigarette. The night breeze was cool. I walked slowly replaying the memories. Does getting everything you want change a person? My assistant hadn't replied yet, but I already knew the answer. My gut instinct was rarely wrong. The next day, my assistant rushed into my hotel suite during lunch. He handed me a manila envelope full of photos. Every single one showed Ilera intimate with a stranger. I felt the ground fall out from under me. Even expecting it didn't numb the pain. The guy was Julian Hayes, a mediocre photographer. I say mediocre because his studio was failing. Ilera had been funneling money to keep his business afloat. Julian was handsome, pale skin, carefully styled messy hair, that brooding artist look. He was exactly Ilera's type. She loved that indie celebrity aesthetic. Julian had an Instagram account full of couple goals photos with Ilera. I scrolled through, horrified by the timeline. They had been together for a long time. I suppressed my rage and kept scrolling. 3 months ago, a beach trip to the Hamptons. Ilera in a bikini, leaning into Julian, both beaming. His hand was resting possessively on her waist. 1 month ago, a candlelight dinner at a French bistro. Julian feeding her cake, Ilera's eyes closed in bliss. It looked like they were the only two people on Earth. Last week, Six Flags. Julian holding her on a roller coaster. Ilera clinging to his neck in mock terror. I had asked her to ride coasters with me before. She said she was too scared. But with him, she was brave enough. Great. Just great. I inhaled deeply, forcing calm. My phone buzzed. It was Ilera. After the password incident, I had made an excuse to stay at a different hotel. I knew why she was calling. Sterling Holdings had just acquired a prime lot near Columbia University for a luxury residential complex. Ilera's firm handled architecture and design. She had been begging for the interior contract. Before I knew about Julian, I had already submitted her company for approval. It was supposed to be a surprise. Now, I let out a cold laugh and looked at my assistant. Terminate all pending contracts with Vance Architecture. Immediately. Everything you have, I gave you. I muttered to the empty room, and I can take it back just as easily. As for Julian, I had a darker plan. Any man who dared to touch what was mine would pay a heavy price. 2 days later, I met a woman in my office. She was arguably more stunning than Ilera. Her name was Sienna Blackwood. She wore a sleek black dress that contrasted sharply with her porcelain skin. Her dark hair cascaded over her shoulders, framing a face that looked like it had been carved from marble. Sienna was Julian's childhood friend, and the woman he was obsessed with. He had chased her for years, but she never gave him the time of day. When I dug up that intel, I knew I had an ace. I didn't waste time with pleasantries. I slid a stack of photos across the desk. The moment she saw them, Sienna's elegant composure shattered. She stood up abruptly, gripping the photos, her eyes locking onto Julian's face. The hatred in her gaze was palpable. It wasn't just dislike. She looked like she wanted to kill him. I didn't need her to speak. The look confirmed my research. Sienna and Julian had bad blood. Specifically, he was responsible for her mother's death. Julian's obsession had turned into resentment. Years ago, in a fit of rage over her rejection, he had set fire to Sienna's family home. Her mother died, trapping herself in the blaze to save Sienna. Sienna escaped with burn scars on her arm as a permanent reminder. The police closed the case due to lack of evidence. No cameras in the area. But Sienna knew. Julian had threatened her. Be with him, or he'd kill her whole family. After her mother died, Sienna spiraled into severe depression, isolating herself, barely surviving a suicide attempt. She took a deep breath, forcing the rage back down. Mr. Sterling, you didn't bring me here just to show me pictures. I stood and walked around the desk, leaning against the edge with a calculated smile. You're smart, Sienna. I'll be blunt. Julian took my woman. I need to settle that score. You have a vendetta against him. We share a target. Why not work together? Sienna paused, then laughed bitterly. Work together? Why should I trust you? I picked up a file. There was a witness to the arson. Someone who got scared and went into hiding. I found him, and I've convinced him to testify. Is that true? Sienna lunged forward, knocking over her coffee cup. Brown liquid stained her expensive dress, but she didn't notice. She gripped my arm, nails digging in. Caleb, Mr. Sterling, please. Give me his name. I'll do anything. She was crying now. I told her to breathe. It took 10 minutes for her to calm down. Like I said, I continued smoothly. We collaborate. You help me, and I put Julian behind bars. Plus, there's compensation. How do we collaborate? She asked. I walked to the window and opened the blinds, flooding the room with sunlight. Simple. You pretend to be my girlfriend. We put on a show. I handed her a check. $500,000. A retainer. She stared at it, conflicted. Hate, hesitation, pride. It all warred in her eyes. Finally, her gaze hardened. She pushed the check back. I'm in, but keep the money. I'm doing this for revenge. I was surprised. $500,000 was life-changing money. Before I could react, Sienna grabbed my tie, pulled me down, and kissed me hard. My assistant quietly slipped out the door. With a beautiful woman in my arms, I didn't resist. I pulled her close. So, Sienna and I became a team. She moved into my penthouse. I had the housekeeper bag up everything Alara had left behind and toss it in the trash. Sienna was the polar opposite of Alara. Alara was sweet and girlish. Sienna was sensual and sharp. Alara was the girl next door. Sienna was a femme fatale. Living with her was surprisingly fulfilling. We went to farmers markets in the morning and high-end boutiques at night. At the market, she was curious, almost childlike. Caleb, look at these heirlooms, she'd say, holding up a tomato, eyes sparkling. I'd pinch her cheek. Get them. I'll make you pasta tonight. She kissed my cheek, drawing smiles from passers-by. But when we shopped on Fifth Avenue, she hesitated to buy anything, saying it was too expensive. She only relaxed when we hit the vintage stalls in Soho. Alara would have turned her nose up at anything that wasn't a designer label. I realized Sienna was the kind of woman you could build a life with. Alara had been calling nonstop. I ignored her. She came to the building, but the concierge turned her away because I'd changed the elevator codes. Caleb, why won't you talk to me? What did I do? If I messed up, let me apologize. You know I have abandonment issues. This silence is killing me. She sent endless crying emojis. She was still performing. If I hadn't seen the evidence, I might have fallen for it again. But not this time. I knew she was panicked about the money. I had cut her cash flow, and she was desperate. I finally texted back. There's a developer's gala tomorrow night at the plaza. Be there. Okay, I'll be there, she replied instantly. The grand ballroom at the plaza was packed with the city's elite. Sienna and I arrived late, making an entrance. Alara had been texting me all night, asking for my ETA. I ignored her. As soon as we walked in, she spotted me. Her relief vanished the moment she saw Sienna on my arm. She stormed over, fury radiating off of her. Who is she? She demanded. I kept my face blank. Just a friend. What? I deliberately squeezed Sienna's hand. You? Alara looked ready to slap her, but stopped when she realized people were watching. Behind her, Julian froze. His eyes cycled through shock, panic, and jealousy. And this is? I asked, feigning ignorance. Alara swallowed her rage. This is Julian Hayes, a new employee at my firm. I laughed dryly. I see. Exactly your type. Alara flushed. What are you implying? Julian and I are strictly professional. Not what you're thinking. She pointed an accusing finger at Sienna. But you need to explain who this woman is. I ignored Alara and looked at Sienna. She looked ready to tear Julian's throat out. Sienna, do you know him? Sienna gripped my arm so hard it hurt. Know him? I'd recognize him if he were ash. I still see my mother burning. The words hit Julian like a physical blow. He turned pale, then aggressive. Shut up, you bitch. Don't slander me, or I'll. Who the hell are you calling a bitch? I stepped between them, my voice dropping an octave. Julian stumbled back. He evidently knew who I was from Alara. He knew he couldn't touch me. He dropped his head like a scolded dog, terrified to speak. My voice had drawn a crowd. Mr. Sterling, is everything all right? It was a group of investors. Sterling Holdings was the biggest player in the room. They all wanted a piece of me. I smiled thinly. Just some stray dog barking at my guest. Hearing the word dog, Julian's face darkened. Alara looked mortified. She hadn't expected me to humiliate her employee publicly. Is that so? Well, he should apologize immediately, one of the investors said, eager to curry favor. Alara, desperate to avoid a scene that could ruin her reputation, nudged Julian. Apologize. Now, Julian looked like he swallowed a lemon, but he grabbed a glass of champagne from a passing waiter. He walked up to me, head low. Mr. Sterling, I didn't recognize you. I apologize for offending you and your guest. A toast to your forgiveness. He downed a drink. I kept my hands in my pockets. I didn't drink. The silence stretched, becoming awkward. The crowd sensed my mood. That's it? One drink, someone sneered. Cheap apology. He should get on his knees. Show some real contrition. I glanced at the man who suggested kneeling. I liked him. You heard them, I said coldly. Julian's veins bulged in his neck. He looked ready to swing. Alara grabbed his arm, then turned to me, using her softest voice. Caleb, please. For me? Let it go. I shook her off. Since when do you defend your employees so passionately? I leaned in. Actions have consequences. And don't forget, the halt on our business cooperation is temporary. For now. Alara paled. Julian tried to pull her away. Alara, let's go. We don't need to beg these people. Alara? First names now. Smack. Alara backhanded Julian across the face. The sound echoed through the ballroom. Alara. Julian touched his cheek, stunned. Shut up. Who gave you permission to call me that? She hissed. Get on your knees and apologize to Mr. Sterling. Under her glare, Julian's resistance crumbled. He slowly sank to his knees on the marble floor. Mr. Sterling, I was blind. I apologize to you and your guest. He even slapped his own face twice. Good dog, I'm mocked. Get up. I forgive you. Julian stood up, eyes burning with hate before he masked it with a servile smile. I saw it, but I didn't care. A dog is just a dog. Later, Alara pulled me into a corner. Caleb, why did you cancel the contracts? What did I do wrong? I fought the urge to vomit. Alara, listen. The board is furious. They think I'm playing favorites, funneling money to your firm without results. Her eyes welled up with tears. But Caleb, without your support, my company will fold. I mentally scoffed. Now you appreciate me? I patted her shoulder. Don't cry. It breaks my heart. I wiped a tear from her cheek. She leaned into my hand. So what do I do? She sobbed. I can't lose the company. I managed to save one project. I lied smoothly. The Columbia Heights interior contract. She lit up. Really? Yes. But you have to prove yourself. Show the board you earned it. She squeezed my hand. I won't let you down. I smiled. You already have. The next day, Advanced Architecture. I arrived to sign the contract, Sienna at my side as my executive secretary. Alara looked annoyed, but said nothing. In the conference room, Julian was sitting next to Alara, looking smug. What is he doing here? I asked. Alara stood up. This is Julian Hayes. I've appointed him vice president. He'll be managing the Heights project. Vice president? He had been a new hire yesterday. Julian leaned back, putting his hands behind his head, man-spreading in the chair. Mr. Sterling, looking forward to working with you. He poured me a cup of tea, boiling hot steam rising from it, and smirked. The disrespect was palpable. I didn't say a word. I picked up the tea and splashed the scalding liquid directly into his face. Aya! Julian leaped up, screaming. Alara rushed to him. Caleb, what are you doing? He didn't do anything. Julian was clawing at his face, skin turning an angry red, blisters forming instantly. You crazy bastard. You did that on purpose. Yeah, I did, I said calmly. What are you going to do about it? Julian tried to lunge at me. My security detail dropped him in seconds. Get him out of here, I ordered, and teach him some manners in the alley. Yes, sir. They dragged him out like a sack of garbage. His screams faded down the hallway. Alara looked torn between chasing him and the contract on the table. Sign the contract, or go save your boyfriend, I said. Choose. She looked at the door, then at the pen. She sat down and signed. As soon as the ink was dry, she ran out to find Julian. I watched her go. When pushed, she chose him, but only after she secured the money. My birthday arrived. Alara texted to say she couldn't make it. Work emergency. I didn't care. I was eating cake with Sienna when a video message popped up on my phone. It was from Julian. In the video, Alara was in bed, naked, curled into his side asleep. Julian whispered to the camera, Hey Caleb, your girl is right here. We just finished round 3. Are you mad? Ha ha. I kept a straight face and forwarded the video to Alara. 10 minutes later, my phone blew up. Explanations, please, video calls. I blocked her. For days, she went crazy trying to find me. She went to my apartment, but the codes were changed. She went to Sterling Holdings, but security banned her. Finally, I returned home after a business trip. As I reached for my door handle, Alara jumped out from the stairwell. She looked like a wreck, hair matted, dark circles under her eyes. She grabbed my arm. Caleb, baby, please, I can explain. I ripped my arm away. Explain? There's nothing to explain. She started weeping, trying to hug me. I was confused. It was a mistake. I love you, Caleb. Only you. I shoved her back. You love me? Did you love me when you were in bed with him? When he sent me that video? She stammered, sobbing. I was possessed, I don't know. Please, forgive me this one time. Forgiveness isn't in my vocabulary, I said. We're done. She collapsed on the floor, clinging to my pant leg. I can't live without you. Suddenly, Julian appeared from the stairwell. He tried to pull her up. Alara, get up. You don't need him. You have me. Shut up. Alara screamed, snapping. She shoved Julian away. This is all your fault. She slapped him hard. Crack. Julian held his cheek, stunned. You crazy bitch. Alara flew at him, punching and kicking, screaming about how he ruined her life. They started brawling right in my hallway. It was pathetic. Enough, I shouted. They froze. Julian glared at me, blood running from a scratch on his nose. This is on you, Sterling. I'm going to kill you. He charged at me, fist cocked. I didn't flinch. The foyer floor had just been waxed. Julian was moving too fast. His shoe lost traction, and he slipped. His arms flailed, trying to catch his balance, but momentum carried him forward. Crash. He fell face first into the large, modern bronze sculpture I kept by the door. It was a jagged, abstract piece with sharp metallic spikes. Gah! A guttural scream ripped from his throat. One of the bronze spikes had gone straight into his right eye. There was a sickening squelch. Dark blood pulsed out, running down the metal and dripping onto the pristine floor. He writhed on the ground, hands hovering over his ruined face, convulsion racking his body. It was gruesome. I looked down at him. Karma is a bitch. Moments later, the elevator dinged. Sienna stepped out, flanked by NYPD officers. I had turned over the witness to the arson case the day before. Julian was going to prison for murder, minus one eye. As they handcuffed the screaming man and dragged him away, Alara sat on the floor, catatonic. Then, she started laughing. A high, shrill sound. Caleb, look what you did. Are you happy? I looked at her with pure disgust. You brought this on yourself. Her laughter cut off. She looked up, eyes full of venom. I'll make you pay for this. She stumbled away. I watched her go. She still didn't get it. The next morning, the hammer dropped. I triggered the clauses in the contracts. Sterling Holdings initiated a hostile takeover of Vance Architecture. Most of the board members, who were loyal to me, voted to oust her. In 24 hours, I was the majority shareholder. I called a meeting and fired Alara from her own company. I told her I could give her everything, and I could take it away. I kept my word. Stripped of her status, Alara spiraled. She went back to the luxury circles she used to frequent, but without my backing, she was a pariah. Her friends blocked her number. She tried to get into the office, but security escorted her off the premises. I built this place, she screamed. Not anymore, ma'am, the guard said. She tried to get a loan to start over, but her credit was frozen and her reputation was radioactive. Eventually, she ended up in a damp basement apartment in Queens, hearing rats in the walls. Unable to handle the fall from grace, the silence, and the poverty, she couldn't take it anymore. She chose to end it on her own terms. Story complete.